Is it going? I think we're live. Hello, everyone. Good morning. How are you all today? I have not had enough coffee yet. I am definitely, I just got a fun pop-up in here that I have not seen before. Oh, Bruce. See, baby, go lay down. Okay. All right. Anyway, so good morning. How are you? If you are on, drop a comment. Let me know how your week is going so far. I love to hear that. Also, I am looking obviously at a video of myself recording this, and I'm just not used to the red hair yet. So I love it, but I am definitely not used to it yet. I am trying to I'm pulling this up so that I can see comments and everything on my phone. Maybe. Anyways, so we are going to chat a little bit this morning. I'm going to talk to you guys just about tips on how to organize your pantry. I know that I cannot be the only one that has gone through scrolling through, Instagram or whatever, and you see, or Pinterest, and you see these beautiful pantries that just, are so clean and organized, and like, gosh, is that really doable? Well, good news, it is. So really quick before I jump into this, we have a group that Luke and I started where we are going to start, turn off notifications, where we are starting to share just tips like this, as well as just how to be a really confident DIY homeowner with DIY projects and everything. Still getting a lot of things launched, but jump in there if you're interested. If not, no biggie. So, all right, so let's get into it. So tip number one is to categorize or create zones in your pantry. So whether you have a space that is really massive and you have the ability, still looking at the red, sorry, squirrel moments. All right, guys. So if you are looking at a space that is really large and you've got, a walk-in pantry space with great shelving and everything like that, it can be done in there. But it can also be done if all you have is, a pantry cabinet, maybe in your kitchen, or you've designated a couple cabinets as your pantry food storage space. So categorize and zone the areas. So whether that is, baking, things for kid lunches, if it's snack areas, if it's stuff for dinner, whatever it is, categorize them, because then not only, will you know where things go, they all are uniform, because typically, baking stuff, all of your baking supplies, hair did, yes, hair did is different right now. But your baking supplies, so if your baking supplies are, they're all kind of uniform, right? So if you've got the bags of sugar or flour or things like that, it will look uniform and give a more visually appealing space with everything being categorized. So that's tip number one. Tip number two, comments shut off. There we go. Tip number two is using bins, baskets, maybe bag clips, things like that. So rather than just having everything, set on the shelf so that it's not, so that it's kind of just all over the place. Number one, that makes it harder for you to really see what is there, and makes it hard for you to keep things in their categories and zones. So use bins, use baskets. You can go, Hobby Lobby always has coupons. You can do that. Otherwise, Amazon, we do a lot of. This is my first time going live with these new tips that are popping up on my screen, and they're really distracting. But we use Amazon for a lot of that stuff too, and organizing and just finding clips. Bins like these, so this obviously is my office, not my, backwards, so not my pantry, but even bins like this would work if you're doing, granola bars, fruit cups, whatever it is. So when you're organizing those things, use bins and baskets. And they typically end up taking up less space than bags just kind of floating around and falling over. So number three is adding jars or containers. This is something that I spent a lot of time researching and trying to find, what containers are going to work best to keep products and keep all of the food from going bad, right? You don't want hard brown sugar. Nobody likes that. So I ended up going with ones from the Container Store. Super happy with them. They did take a while, but we are, or were when I ordered them, kind of in the middle of a pandemic. So just had to be patient there. But using your jars, containers, everything like that, visual, right? It gives you that visual of that pretty clean pantry space so you can see everything and see the food that you've got inside of them, but also it's very, very functional. So a lot of times you can stack them, you can label them, which kind of gets into number 4, but you really have the ability to transform that space into something that is visually appealing, but also very functional by using jars and containers as needed, you know, for things that you wouldn't put granola bars in. So that's that. Fourth tip here is to label notifications. Label absolutely everything. So there are a lot of different ways you can do this, right? You can get a label maker, you can print out your labels, put them on that, or you can, I mean, there are people on Etsy that sell labels for them using their Cricut machine, their Cricut machine. You might know someone who has a Cricut and is wanting to do it, and maybe you just buy the vinyl and you say, hey, would you be willing to, you know, do this, or can I use your Cricut and print them out myself? You can find fonts. It's super easy to use those machines, but if you don't have one yourself and don't want to spend a couple $100 to invest in them, ask someone you know, put it out on social media, on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, wherever, right? Because, you know, people generally want to help people, so you can get your labels made for those. Still need to do that. I'm gonna be hitting up my sister-in-law to use for Cricut, but label them, because like I said, so visual so that you know, but the other part of that is that everything always has a home, and it will keep it, it will help keep it so that everything stays organized and it's not just kind of getting thrown around because it doesn't have a space, right? If you have a dedicated space where your flowers go, or your sugars, or your pasta, granola bars, you know, any of those things, then it is more likely that they're actually going to go in that space rather than everything getting jumbled up and making it, you know, less user-friendly. I don't know that we say that about pantries, but I just did, so it's okay. So less user-friendly of a pantry and also less attractive of a pantry. So last but not least, tip number 5 for you is to keep it clean. This is something that I try to do pretty regularly. I end up doing it really only like once every other week. I would love to do it once a week, but is to keep it all clean. And part of that is organizing, decluttering, making sure things did get back into their designated spots, making sure they're in the bin. When we buy groceries, not just piling it in, but putting them in the right spots, and then also looking at the expiration dates, right? Like, just like if you go to the store, you want to make sure that the expiration dates are farther out in the back, right? So then pulling the things to the front. I can't remember what that's exactly called. There's a term for it. That's all right. Not relevant. But also getting rid of things that are expired, or knowing like, hey, oh, this expires, you know, next week. Hopefully you don't have that with your pantry stuff. But if you do, that's the time to use it. Make sure you use it. Also, by doing that, it reminds you of what all you have in your pantry, and you're more likely to really use everything in there than, you know, going out to eat, ordering new groceries, anything like that, because you have nothing to eat at home. Because you do, and now it's all labeled properly. You can see where things are, all of that stuff. So those are my 5 tips for you. Just recapping again, categorize them, use the bins and baskets, add your jars and containers, pretty, functional, all that. Label it all and then keep it clean. So that's what I've got for you today. If you've got questions on this or other tips that you use to really keep your pantry space functional, beautiful, all of those things, I'd love to hear it. Otherwise, have an awesome day, guys. Bye.